we should start. Why isn't this stream starting? Are we there yet? Hello everyone, how are you doing? It's one of those days, it's one of those places, it's one of those things I have. Oh, I've done so much stuff for today that it's unbelievable whatever. All right. Hello Marco, hello Jerry. Uh, Sorry to keep you waiting, but I literally just came from 5 minutes after 7:19 p.m. and it's just 19 hours. And I had to rush. I had to do quite a lot of stuff, which I'm not that active a person, but today I was. So very normal, basic stuff like washing your car, preparing tires to be changed, mostly alpha male kind of stuff. So, okay, I'm proud. But I also had breakfast outside. I had to take my cat to the vet for a normal check in the morning. I had to do so many things, and yet I was able to make it 7:05. So that's quite impressive. So I was kind of like around the corner, but I really had to shower. I couldn't just do a stream like this. And we're here. We're here. And it's fascinating that we are still not replaced by AI. I don't know how much of the AI will be my audience. I, on my own self, couldn't even get Ethan to behave as a proper bot initially. So even now, I think it's kind of there. So you're safe in here. This is very, very, very human. Okay, so what have you been up to this week? What have you been up to? Has it been amazing? Has it been average? Has it been so? Has it been what's her face? But we managed to survive another couple of weeks since I had my last stream. I think, right? It was kind of there. So I am still working on new music. We're done kind of with the one song that I've also used for my Orange Clip Masterclass. If you haven't watched that, you should. There's a whole Acoustica audio masterclass on Sunglow, which is available for tier A of my Patreon. And it's, I think, over 3 hours and a half. And even if you hate Acoustica audio, or you can't care less, or it's just another brand for you, this is fine. It's the same for me. It's just a good rock mix masterclass. So if you're into mixing rock music, that is a pretty cool masterclass. A lot of things came up with the channel strip, and it was a lot of fun. I kept writing music. I think I have like I was gonna say 3. It's actually 4 sketches done. But today we don't give a darn. Today we just test 2 plugins that should be pretty fun. And I'm probably not gonna play things via what do I want to say? I don't want to play stuff that is on the DAW. I want to play stuff live and get a feel, a vibe for these 2 plugins. Okay, I had to push my Avalanche Run pedal because it likes to start up in bypass, which is not a good thing. And which plugins are we talking about? Now, this session is actually a song that I've been writing that is pretty there. Yeah, okay. There was a lot of stuff already going here. Let me just carve all these. There's my usual drums, beats, grooves, basses, synths. So there's real stuff, right? The Prophet, the Voyager, the Nord Lead, the Amiga, which I haven't connected at the moment, Serum as well. All right, Serum. There's brass, Brahms, effects, and there's a mix bus. So, and there's a stream that you're not hearing unless I turn it on. So we should do that. I think you should kind of maybe have a -3 or something. I still don't know. We're gonna keep it at 0, but I'm fearing these might be a tad loud. So I'm gonna -3 you. Okay? So now you're on. There's noise. What is it? The background noise that we had there. We got my reverberate. So I actually don't want to play this stuff as much as I just want to instantiate a couple of tracks. What should we play? What was I playing before? Let me think about it. The mini brute? No, it's kind of. You know what? I'm gonna do. Oh, T doesn't work here, or does it? Okay, I'm gonna do Omnisphere. Have we ever done Omnisphere? No. Have we ever talked about Omnisphere? No. Do we need to talk about Omnisphere? No. Have I ever updated Omnisphere in the past year? No. I usually update Omnisphere, I think, every 6 months or so. Unbelievable. Now, if I were to take all of these things that I have in Omnisphere and put them physically in a place, I would be like worth of a TV series, like Hoarders. Have you seen that TV series? So, I have so many sounds. I bought a lot of them, but I got tons of support from the people who were making them. I'm friend with 2 people who make amazing, actually 3 people who make amazing sound banks. So I'm swamped in these. What, are we talking about Omnisphere? No, we're not talking about Omnisphere. We're just here to talk about 2 plugins, but I want some sounds that are super indicative of what I do. Do I have my own here? Maybe not. Hold on. Maybe not. Maybe yes. All right. Let's do pads and strings. And let's load. It's scary. I know a lot of this stuff by memory. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. Let's do Adagio Espressivo. Ooh, Adagio Espressivo. Sounds almost like commercial for a coffee thing. No, analog string violins, air glass, air magic carpet. You know what? We're gonna do Lush Supercell. No, Warmpad. Heaven's Shores. This could be it. We're not clearly playing Omnisphere. We're playing Serum. We could use Serum as well. Why not? It doesn't matter. Alright, let me clear it. We're playing Omnisphere. We are. Okay. Well, that's not the sound I wanted. I'm not sure if the problem is with me, but I have the feeling that the stream audio is quieter than usual. I have to turn up it quite a bit. I did kinda, let's do this, hold on. This is going to monitor track, okay, this is good, but it should go really to mix. It's possible, Sounds also very roomy, all right, why is that? Oh, okay. Is it? No, maybe there's something. Maybe we're wrong. Okay, so you got stream, and we got no input, that's fine. Let me go 0. How about this? I actually have a mic mute. So you should hear just the sound, which I wanted something that was stringy, and for some reason I can't find it. Have no idea why. Is it orchestral? Maybe I am in the wrong thing here. No. I'm here. Hold on. Oh, yeah, I'm here. I have to find. Okay, Cathedral String Orchestra. That was the one I wanted. Okay, ready? I'm gonna mute it. Let me hear what you hear. Also, local channel of this. Okay. So there's my mic that's clearly open, that's true, but it shouldn't happen. It should be quite nice. Let's try that. I hope it works. Let me double check collisions and see. Sound is okay. your voice is quiet. Okay, why is my voice quiet? Hold on. Oh, of course. You're ready? So this is the cable that should be connected to the microphone. Are you ready? Hi, everyone. This is now the sound of proper microphones connected to your recorder. Right? Okay. So basically you were hearing it from the recorder that was placed on the table. Okay, so we have something here that is just a patch that we don't care. What are we gonna do here today? We're gonna test two plugins that I have not, trust me, I have not instantiated. Okay? The CA-70S and the Hazelrigg VLC. Lo and behold. Okay, I'm gonna bypass the VLC. So why are we talking about these stuff? Because we found out that they are pretty good. There's a lot of people that were talking about it and were saying like, oh, have you tried the VLC? Have you tried the CA-70S? No, I had not. But because we have educational academic discounts with Mixwave now, Dave was super supportive and super kind to just get us into it. I thought we should cover this. I have not tried it. I completely trust you, but it's a great topic because we're here not to please artificial intelligence, not to be replaced by it. We're here to give something human to humans, all right? Where is the difference between any kind of algorithm and us playing stuff? Well, one of the main differences is that sometimes a little goes a long way. So getting the right tone and sound stage and vibe and feeling for any track you have, can be a mix, can be a bass, can be drums, can be a strings patch like this one, is super important. And now more than ever, do we have the possibility of just loading plugins that do not a lot of stuff in quantity, but they do a lot in quality, okay? And these two plugins, to me, I was more into the VLC from the demos I heard. But you people, I think Joey was here, and I think Martin as well, who isn't here, said, you should really try the CA-70S as well. So here is the perfect example of why you can't really wing it when it's about emotions, okay? If these things do half of what they were supposed to do in hardware form, we're gonna get an idea through our ears of why it's beneficial to educate ourselves to the properties of old analog equipment or new analog equipment and the relative plugins that emulate it, which are very comfortable because they're also not as expensive as setting up an entire studio for analog, okay? So the CA-70S and the Hazelrigg Industries VLC are two old tube preamps, okay? They exist physically. They're made by Coil Audio, the CA-70S, and by Hazelrigg Industries, the VLC. They are all old tube, they're both old tube, and they are preamps with a touch of EQ, okay? Tone control, we could say that. There is tone control on the CA-70S, as far as I've read, and there are manuals, and there's tone control on the VLC as well. So this is why it's kind of nudging into the territory of putting more of a sound into things, because you have the sound of the preamp, which is amazingly appropriate if you find the right one for the good stuff, but there's also tone control, okay? So I would say we start with the CA-70S. I am curious, as you are, to find out what does this do? Why would I want to use it, and where does it shine, okay? So there's two ways I could do this. I could play parts of a song that I know are made with instruments that I use a lot of the time, and feel how they are. There's no algorithm here, there's no AI. This is you getting a sound you know and getting a feel from these kind of stuff, you know? Sometimes some preamps or emulations thereof click magically and you gotta hear it, and you know, I don't know what's gonna happen, you know? Probably there's gonna be materials better than other for each of the plugins, okay? But the other way that I wanna do it is just playing things, okay? Just get a feel for how these behave. Okay, just playing it. Okay, just playing it. Because this is usually how I do it. I don't even know. Just playing, okay? Jolie say, are these plugins on the master bus? No, I put them just on Omnisphere, and for now, because I'm playing Omnisphere, and we're just gonna move them around. But I picked Omnisphere because Omnisphere has a couple sounds that are very nice emotionally, but they might be considered a bit too stereotyped and flat by some people. So I instantly thought Omnisphere and some of its sounds, because you can't really say Omnisphere, there's millions of sounds being made from it, but it's got a footprint that I out of the box, I can tell you right away, I love. I've been using Omnisphere all the time, you know. So I'm placing these things. I think I want to, as preamps, and this is kind of, yeah, no problem, Jolie. That's exactly what I want to say. Like, how would I educate myself on the question of, is this gonna be appropriate for my music? Why would I need preamplifiers? Okay, this is going really to a human-based level. Like, why am I getting the emotions I'm getting out of the patch I'm playing through these? Okay, so I've checked the latency. These are perfect for playing because they are close to zero latency at one time oversampling, and they have only, I think, a couple milliseconds, even less, like 1.3 milliseconds on 2, I think 4 and 8 as well. They don't seem to register at a higher oversampling versus latency ratio. So 1 times oversampling is perfectly zero latency. You can play these with tons of these plugins if your CPU allows, if you want to play through it or not, okay? So I say we start with the CA-70S. Now, the CA-70S, we're gonna put through its paces. I'm gonna start with generic patches and then I'm gonna get a vibe for it. I'm gonna say maybe drums are better, maybe bass is better, we don't know. It's got an on-off switch, this we know. You turn it off and it's off. And it's got a line or microphone input tone, so this changes your sort of like virtual impedance and then the sound you're getting. You can flip phase, and then it's got 4 gain stages steps. So this is 0, -6, -12, and -19, okay? Not 18, for some reason it's 19. This will attenuate the input stage and will probably produce a little bit less color or a little bit more of a stable picture from the preamp. That's usually why you want to have different stages. But the nice thing about them is that they're stepped. And so when things are stepped, usually the design of the unit, the real unit, allows the designer to just get better, I don't know, like a better formatting for the values. I don't know if that makes sense, but it could be really 4 different tones. Then we got low. The low control shifts the bump in the low frequency content, because this plugin, this preamp, when instantiated, generates a little bit of a, well, it's not a little bit, it's quite of a nice bump I've seen. And you can move these in terms of which centered position. So 0 is generating it, I don't know where, let's say 60 hertz, 100 hertz, I don't know. It's like at one specific spectrum position. And then you can move it up or down. So it's not about quantity. I think the +2, +4, -2, -4 will feel as if these things are getting more into the low mids or more into the subwoofer area, okay? Then there's these NF, which will probably sound like high frequency attenuation or just a tilting balance. I have no idea, we'll see that. because I read it and forgot, but I think it's kind of a high frequency balance thing. But again, it's not a linear thing, it's like a tube preamp, right? And these used to be, I think the original unit that Coil Audio started to make is from the 30s or 50s or something. Hello, Yasin. Hello. I hope I didn't butcher your name. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. We're exploring the CA-70S. So, and then the output stage. But the output stage here is, I think it will be probably 42 dBs unity gain, and then you're kind of going backwards into attenuating. I have no idea, but it says output, so this should be the output trim. I expect these output trim to not be linear, however, because it's just the color of the preamp. Now, the cool thing you should take a look at before we start is that we have an input and output knobs at the left top most positions and right most top position, okay? The input and output stages, I've read in the manual, they should be always on even if we bypass the unit. I have no idea if this is gonna be the case. We're gonna see that, but we have to make sure. Then we got filters. Mixwave has this useful high pass and low pass that you can turn on and off for the input and for the output stage here. Out filters and in filters, right? Then there's a dry-wet mix knob. There's a version here with the manual. There's presets by a lot of people, some very talented people in here that made presets, so I'm expecting this thing to be really awesome. And then there's 2 different resolutions for your GUI. You can set these size as default. I think I'm using the smallest one, but look at that. All of a sudden you go like, I can finally see. And I don't see why I shouldn't keep it that way. You know, we should keep it this way. I can clearly read, I can tell you that. And the oversampling 1 times, 2 times, 4 times, 8 times, right? So on off, to turn it on and off, this is an old tube design, so it doesn't quite, you know, just, it should sound like an old tube preamp. So what I wanna do is just, I want to find a patch in here that has some meaning to me. Let me do it here. The Hazelrigg is off. Let me do it here. Let me try and find something that has. Okay, this is a perfect example of a sound I would use to test preamps. Call me crazy, leave the room, close the stream, I don't know. I would use this a lot because there's kind of a scoped scenario in which I can hear the highs clearly and then the lows, and there's a specific presence of the subwoofer somehow. We just play this part. This could be a nice riff. So what if I turn it off? This is how I would do it. Just bypass it. Okay, so first impressions are what matters. First impressions are what matters, right? It's touching it very lightly, but for the best. I'm kind of liking this. Okay, so what I was expecting was, if it's a good thing, when I turn it off, I should miss it somehow. So for how weird this kind of sound would be, even if it played higher, You hear how it fills the room somehow? Without, it doesn't quite. Wow, okay. Okay. Higher registry octave, it's a completely night and day. I'm gonna play with one hand and mouse away with the other one, okay? Let's play this. Okay. It's nice. Okay, it's let me change patch now. It's filling the space in a different way, right? That's nice. That's nice. Find something else. Right? Yasin, you like that? It's kind of sounding nice, right? Now, each time I played off without this huge, nice light that the Pultex also have, it's a kind of a diamond vintage bulb. And that's not an LED for sure on the real unit. I don't know, maybe you can LEDs, but usually it's like a fluorescent bulb from the 50s and stuff. Each time I play the same line, and I know I'm not playing it, I can't play it 100% right. What am I, AI? No. I can't play it all the way the same. I'm fortunate to play it almost the same twice, right? But each time I play the same line, or sort of, with off, I can tell you from my playing perspective, it feels like the sound is kind of resisting to get out of the speakers. I would be perfectly fine without if I hadn't known when it's on, right? So let's do, like, this sound is also nice as a soundscape, like. Right? You play, you get an idea, you turn it off. You can really hear it nudge the sound. And I think Jolie, I think again Martin, I don't remember Marco maybe saying that, but I think 2 or 3 of you in my Patreon said, you gotta try that thing just because it's giving that. So each time it's on, and it was perfectly completely off, low frequency, 0 and stuff, it's a huge difference in quality, and it's such a small difference in quantity. Although, again, we can argue, right? Because if it, you might say, well, no, it's a lot of difference. These sounds are very sometimes scooped. Sometimes they have like these organ. They have clear resonances, right? And these resonances are because it's an organ. It's additive synthesis, right? And then there's a pad. I don't know which kind of sounds it has. But it expands because of what the tubes do, okay? So with soft sounds that kind of have a textural context, it's insanely cool, absolutely. Jolie says, the CA-70S is very adept to enhancing the harmonic richness of the source. Wow, that's very well written. Did you write? No, it sounds perfectly fine. This should be like manual stuff. It's like, no, marketing right at the point. It's exactly there. It's exactly what I meant to say with a lot more useless words. I think it's very appropriate. Like, it's very adept to enhancing the harmonic content because it's an old tube preamplifier. right? Now, to have these and play your patches to, you own it. Okay, Joel says, I own it, so I know. LOL. Yasin, you say like the difference is huge. It is, right? Can we listen to what it's adding exactly, kind of in isolation? We could do, absolutely yes. We can do a flip phase thing, 50%, dry wet, for sure. I have no idea if I go dry wet and then flip the phase, 50%, maybe we hear it, but we'll do a test for hearing. If I had to say what I hear it's adding, it's filling up the sound. And why did I load Omnisphere? Because it's right on the verge of being a little bit too old and dry. I love Omnisphere. I use it all the time, but it's getting to that point where it speaks to me of a specific decade of sound scoring, which I happen to love. But, you know, that's that. Let's try it again, maybe with microphone amps now. Let's try that. Okay, we're distorting. How about without? Okay, so well, now we hear what it does, but it's a lot stronger. So how do we do that? Oh, the first thing I want to see is if I bypass the plugin, are the in and out knobs working? Yes, okay. Okay, well, what are we doing here in virtual space? We're taking a microphone input and we're feeding it with a sort of a line level source. It's destroying itself, right? But it's kind of sounding nice. As a reminder, this is without. And this would be with 100%. Okay, hold on. I have to like slide it more because of the huge interface. Okay, so it's crashing it, right? I kind of like how appropriate the microphone distraction is happening. It's kind of realistic. But I noticed that while I was moving the output, something super non-linear happened. Let's try this. I think you can get a lot of very nice textures, and the output is clearly designing the amount of drive as well that we're doing. The input selector is your friend when using the mic input. Okay, we'll do that. So let's change patch because we're just doing whatever. Okay, these are appropriate. Without. Okay, so okay, let's go 100% wet, of course. But now, okay, well, this sounds like the palette of sound is really opening up. If I forget to mention something, remember remind me that I have to say something about NF in terms of feeling. So 0, 6, 12, 19, as I was expecting, they're really colors, not just as much as input gains as numbers. You hear it? So you go 19, 12, 6, 0, and I was kind of going lower with the output. And when you get to 0 with the output at what? At 23, the sound is tame on the highs on the top, but there's kind of a grungy low-mid section. While if you go minus 19, 42, it's kind of a more widespread stardust, which is kind of appropriate for what my Amiga is playing. But, right, that's that. Yasin says, what is your advice about this plugin? For example, when and where we can use it? So you joined a little bit after I said, I am opening this plugin for the first time ever today. So I haven't ever opened it. This is my very first day with it. But I do use preamps or transformer emulators or tube emulators, whatever you want to call them, to beef up sounds. So in my scenario, which is my own scenario, the very first approach that I would use for these is for orchestral sounds. So everything that is brass, strings, and orchestral drums, and percussion, orchestral, so kind of real skins, sample libraries, French horns, trumpets, trombones. What would you want here? Is my firewall exception happening? Where's my bots? All right, this go away. So I would use these for probably most of the orchestral stuff. Because what I find with sample libraries in the way I write my music is that sample libraries of strings and brass tend to sound like just splattered on top of the mix or too far behind. And I want them behind in a very nice way. So personally, like my own, obviously this is my own approach, okay? And this is, I'm composing in a specific kind of style. I would immediately look at this plugin for something related to orchestral sample libraries and percussion brass strings. Vocals as well, like voices of vocal effects, for sure. I love how it's distorting stuff, so it could be on drums, but I probably wouldn't just jump, over it, like right off the bat. I'm glad you're getting ideas. That's what we're doing these streams exactly for this. And the other thing I would do if I were mixing a band, okay, so now we're doing a different thing. Now I'm putting my mix engineer hat, more of the old days. I used to do more before the pandemic and stuff. These could be everywhere, but if I had to say, let's play a game, let's imagine you have 2 instances. You can only open 2 of them. I would probably do bass and vocals. Probably. Because, I think this could sound really nice on bass and vocals. Would I do kick drums? I don't know. No, I don't do. Will it sound good? Probably, yeah. As a plugin, it will probably sound even better as a versatile plugin. So, absolutely. If I were to do real strings, absolutely. Because real strings, especially if you're lacking real preamplifier and stuff, tend to sound very kind of nasal and forward if you use like Neumann microphones or Gefell microphones as well. If you use Telefunken, if you use Schöps, if you use Sanken, those microphones kind of tend to have a little bit more of a permissive image, but you need to slow those transients down if you're close micing the violins, which is something a lot of people love these days. I've done a lot of neoclassical records in Berlin because everybody was into neoclassical. And they used to want the violins very intimate, the violas as well, the cellos as well. So definitely I would probably look at these to just shave off the point in all of these stuff. But in my own scenarios, orchestral things, for sure. And, you know, that's it. Bass, maybe. We should try it on bass. Let me try these on something that works. I have here machine drum kicks. Okay, let me hear this stuff. Okay. So I have this pattern here. This one. Right? You hear it? This is kind of like, oh, boring. Okay, but no, hold on. It's happening with 4 more tracks. I told you it's weird. I want to not use it here on the machine drum kicks. We're gonna use it on the beats. Okay, we're gonna place it right after whatever I have. Oh, no, I said right after. Here. Boom. Okay, we open it and we play with it. Holy smokes, the lows. Let's try that. Off. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do off with the bypass, the power button of Bitwig. Okay. Just because I want to completely eradicate the whole plugin. Okay, let's try that. Okay, well now I want to use these on drums as well. Now I want to use it everywhere. As with every good preamp, but this one kind of sounds, we should do this test. We don't touch anything. I just want you to be understanding of how I move when I test my stuff. Because I think if it sticks with you, then you can say like, okay, I know how to move when new products are gonna come out. And this is still a good ride because this is nice. Now, what I would like to test is, does it sound better before everything else or after? Because in my experience, some preamp emulations in plugin form like to sound better at a specific stage, which it's usually at the very first stage or at the very last. Now I hear what it's doing. In my opinion, it's gonna sound better like this. Let's jinx it. Let's see if I'm right or not. Okay, I'm gonna just play it now and then move it right after Filter Bank, which is the plugin that it's just doing the input trim. Okay, it's not doing anything else. So I have all of these plugins doing stuff on the Beats bus. Jolie says, now that patch has to be on that line. Yeah, absolutely. Like this is on the Beats bus. And this could backfire in a good way because I usually go back to my other songs before printing like an album and say like, the beats need the 70S. We're doing the beats with the 70S. And I save a preset, which happens to be the default, and just put it almost blindly to the other stuff. So, but let's try if it sounds better at the very end or at the very first stage, because this is another thing that if you want to know how I move around new plugins, I do all the time, especially with Mojo colorators. Colorators. This is how we're gonna call them. They're colorators. They're like a biological, technological alien form that just invades other places and just adds harmonics to to planetary wildlife. So is it better at last or first? Now I don't know if you can hear it, but the first hit with this thing is just the ticket. Last, absolutely. Don't spend 300 hours on it. I know you gotta a little bit educate your ears and kind of do this for years and years and years, so that your ears, it's actually they sound similar, the words, but they're different. They will get used to it. I can tell you right off the bat, in my monitoring, in my room here, when it's after, it just kicks you in the guts when it's last. So I like these last. And I like it at one time. I don't know if I'm gonna do 2 times. I don't care. Now, this is default. Now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna try and play with low and then NF, which really gave me the sound stage. That's the thing I wanted to say before. There was a point in which I heard the stereo field was more interesting with NF. Not just about how dark or bright it was just about the sizzle detail and then the output. And then we do a microphone version completely destroyed and we put it underneath. Let's try that. Holy smokes, Jolie said, and I repeat, now that patch has to be on that line. I'm thinking this is gonna be there. All right. Do I have the CPU power to handle this? I better hope so. Let's try and move the NF. Oh, this is, you know what is nice about this? Call me crazy. LFO the heck out of that button there. I'm gonna go classic LFO. And I wanna assign it to the NF. This thing here. Because look at that thing moving. Too fast, for sure. We go syncing and we go 4 bars. Why not? 100%? No, way too much. Like 30. Let me see where it's moving. You see it move? Now you see it move. Boom. So, I don't know. Maybe it's gonna work, maybe not. I found it. In real time, this I can almost guarantee you is the way I will handle the beats bus. It does work on this patch. I'm thinking, I'm kind of trying to stay on stream, but my mind is actually thinking about the other songs. So am I here? Am I not here? Is this AI? Is this human touch? Are we being welcomed by the machine? This really works. Like moving it going up in quarter, in just whole notes. I like that. Okay, what is it doing? Alberto, why do you like that? Well, I like it because the NF button, it's a knob, the NF knob, kind of sets the depth, the positioning of the sound in sort of like a depth thing because it's attenuating a lot of that tone, right? So I have to probably pause this thing, boop, just because otherwise it's just moving all the time. It's attenuating the highs in a way that is mostly perceived by me as pushing the sound backwards. And this could really be the ticket, but if you go counterclockwise, it feels to me, so from 6 to 0, it feels to me, I don't know what is happening in the spectrum, if it's kind of tilting up. It sounds more detailed. And there's always a spot in which the harmonic distribution kind of feels nice. Now, the low, when we played with the lows, from -4 to +4, it felt more like blocks of sound that were kind of coming my way. They were moving in my direction. I kind of think that 0 is nice, but if you want it to be more subtle and kind of still supportive and haunting, I would go negative. And positive is a little bit more like, look at me, I'm the main feature of the mix, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So really nice. I mean, we could stay here. Oh, we gotta stay here. I want to do something different. I want to completely obliterate this. We go microphone. Let's start with -19, a little bit less output. Let's hear what it sounds like. Okay, I'm instantly surprised by the left-right side content. Let me try without. Do you hear it in the stream? It's that cock, cock, cock. It's like a percussive sound that is placed outside of your stereo field, while the main kick elements, like it's all kicks, while all of the kicks and the kick snares kicks and hi-hat kicks, it's all kicks. It's just my kits are, you know, recently just kicks, different kicks making the kit. Does it make sense? I have hats and snares, but they don't sound like hats and snares. Okay, Yasin, you hear it, right? So when I'm off, trying to concentrate on what is outside. If you have headphones, probably it's a lot easier. I have speakers here in the room, big speakers a little bit far away, and I can kind of hear that there's side content, but when I turn it on, I don't really hear it distorted as much. You remember when we tried at 0, it was kind of, you know, giving everything. I kind of hear it like the side content is being compressed slightly and pushed forward. I have no idea. Let's try that. Off. Wow. Okay. This is a completely different thing that I was kind of not hearing in line. And this is good. This is also very good. Where would I use this instead? Synthesizers, probably. Or even this, of course. What do I have here? I have something, maybe want to use like, what is it? Grooves. The Grooves bus has something. Okay, I have this thing going. It's called BT, so it's gotta be something related to BT breakbeats, but it's being mangled. So let me take the grooves. I also have Mixhead on it. We're keeping it. That's my bus, but we do 70S, and I want to hear the detail of the side content on the grooves now. Well, what do we do? This one, and then we pushed it, but then we had to kind of go output up, right? Okay, let's try this. Okay, it's not doing this that much as it was doing it on the beats. So my thinking is that it's more related to high-mid frequency stuff. So synthesizers would make more sense here. So and also, if you notice, the output is always engaged even when we bypass the unit. So I went for the bypass on the main plugin instance, what is called the device instance here on Bitwig, because that way I can get the output knob to be bypassed as well. I would kind of like, if I have to be honest, I would like the output and input to be, maybe to have a global bypass button here, but maybe this is Bitwig's fault because it's not here. I have to go all the way down there. So it's okay, it's not that important. Let's play with this weird groove in microphone. Have you heard it? That there's that one spot for NF that really sounds good. That just gives you that perspective. Let me try the beats with the grooves now. That's my computer saying, I don't think you're gonna do that. But it's okay, because there's a lot of live stuff in here, obviously. And I have, I think, 256, 512 buffer. Can't work. It's okay. We know I try and destroy Bitwig all the time. Let's play it once more. This is also cool, but we're getting into sound design. So would I be interested in the CA-70S doing that? Of course, but I think the other elusive features are more interesting to me. All right, so this is nice. I mean, we could stay here forever. Stay a while, stay forever. That's true. So I'll remember this, my amazing database of a mind, and I'm thinking the beats will probably get the 70S. Sounds good. Okay. We could try these on tons of sources. Let me actually see this. The DW, is it on? Yo, are you on? It is on. Okay. So if I don't solo it, no miracle. Believe it or not, this is what I like my DW8000 to do. I know, but it's that thing. So let me try and you hear this is mostly just reverb, right? This is feeling mostly, let me erase some instances that we didn't use. It's mostly just reverb, right? So I'm thinking this could be a sort of like a depth perception indicator. All right, so we play the beats as well. Sounds good. Now the test would be, can you show us without? I need to play the same thing because I completely forgot. Oh my God, but the difference is insane, even like this. What have I done? Microphone 0, okay, so completely destroying the sound, but then injecting like 20%. So, without. Obviously, there's that much more detail, but I played this low note. I hope you can hear that in the stream. It's just very, very long air. All the way into a humid, dark, cold, alley of a destroyed whatever city. Oh, I hear that. For some reason, have you heard it? This is live. We caught it. The patch I have here on the DW8000 has weird settings for, I think, the delay that I'm using, like very, very quickly. It's a fast delay that's feeding back sometimes. Have you heard that glitch? It's just the DW that does that. And it fell on the floor months ago, so maybe it's also because of that. But that's exactly what I wanted to do. So nice. Okay. Let's go. It gets a pass. I like these. I like these a lot. We're not gonna play with this thing any longer because we gotta move to the Hazelrigg. I know, but hopefully this will leave you hanging. Demo it. Don't buy stuff just because I said so. I never said to buy anything, but I think it sounds good. So, do you have different things that you use for these tasks? Of course, I do. You probably do as well. Does it mean this one sounds bad? I think it sounds really good. So, are you on the hunt for an old tube preamp? How many old tube preamps have we had? A lot. One too many. All right, so now here, what patch do we have? I want a guitar here for whatever reason. Okay, let me open these. Let me solo Omnisphere, put these guys up. All right, I want some kind of guitar. Well, not that low. Maybe not this guitar. LA synth guitar. I don't even have to tell you who am I thinking about when I hear this stuff. Just making it, it's not about the riff, it's about the mood. All right, so, but we're not here to talk about people who really shaped the person I am by listening to their record. All right, let's try this. I only have a couple octaves, but guitarists have even less, so. I wish it had a little bit more reverb, which we have. Oh, you know what? We're gonna just jack it up with some Avalanche Run. Please, do the honors. All right, then we get the effects. Right, we go pre. All right, we'll like this. The reverb is a little bit long, but that's exactly what we want. Now, it's got kind of a pinchy, winchy high, right, registry. Can we cut it? Probably yes. But how would it play without first? Let me just do a bypass. Okay, on. Okay, it's probably not. I mean, coming from the 70, this one is like nudging it. okay? But I see a gain knob all the way to the left, so that's what we're gonna do. Okay, now I have to double check something. Okay, like, am I just kidding myself or what? Wow, the gain knob here acts as a sound, like a spotlight thing. It's not about just the volume, it's about pointing to the star. Okay, wow, okay, this one has this thing that the 70 can't do. Right? Yasin says, wow. Yeah. I'm like, mouse and hands. I'm like, okay, yes, no, maybe. This is good. This is also super good. This is also super good. Again, what is the VLC? The VLC exists in real life, in the real world. It's not made by AI, it's made by people. It's Hazelrigg Industries. It's a tube, preamp, and equalizer unit. I don't know how expensive it's gonna be, but because it's boutique and probably, you know, tube stuff. I don't know if it's discrete design or whatever. I mean point to point or whatever they made, but okay, well, this one sounds good. So the hardware is probably gonna sound 10 times better because my hardware sounds 10 times better than the plugins I have. So this is good. But first and foremost, gain at 0 is just ever so slightly nudging it. But then you gain up and the sound just comes forward. And it's more of a console or tape or amp kind of volume up. It's not a volume up of your DAW fader. Did it feel that way? Because here in my room, I was like, yes, that's it. And it places sounds probably perfectly in the scenario stuff. Let's change track and just power chords. No. Okay, let's do it. We could play an ARP from. Oh God, this is gone. This is not what I wanted. I was just saying we could play an arpeggio from the base station and have it feed. The problem is that I fed it, I think, before to an operator or something, because it keeps going. So we're done. Hear that though, it's pretty good. Do we have other effects that are turned on? No. All right, well, that's kind of nice. So let me see if there's something I can do about it. Just here. Okay, we saved it. This is how you survive in a world of stuff. Come on. Come on. This is nice. This is good. All right. Let me try Glorious Steel. Oh, this one's a great patch. Without. All right. I hear it better, but we must not cheat ourselves. So. Okay, you hear it. Now you hear it. Hear how much of a saturated presentation it is? Without. Oh, sorry, I know I must not do it that way. Without in full. Or with. It's just night and day. I'm trying to like kind of puzzle these two. Is it placement? It's not placement the way the NF knob would do. It's placement in the sense of heft. Nice. Okay, well this is one of the best probably that I heard just from a volume knob. Martin acoustic. D minor day, right? I don't know why. Anyway, now I want actually another thing. I would try them on strings again. There's just no way. I need to hear it. Oh, fifth, so this. All right. Let's try the EQ. Okay, wow, this is also nice, but it's too scooped for what I'm kind of hearing it, but okay, trust me, this is good. This is gonna be a good example. Let's try this with no EQ, and what happens here is you can cut and boost the lows if you read it, and you can boost and cut the highs, but there's two positions per each knob. It can be low or high. So there's two frequency points that each knob can operate at. It can be a low point or a high point. So you can cut high, boost low in the low area, and you can boost the high part of the highs. Does it make sense? So each knob, high boost, for example, has two boost positions. The knob is smooth for gain, but the frequency spots are there's two of them per knob. So you can boost the lows, the low lows or the high lows. I hope I'm making sense, but and again, it's a lot of harmonic content. I like these a lot. I think for orchestral stuff, I would probably go here better. You know what? Let me try this. I'm thinking about something. So let me disable this. Let me go let me go whatever. Let me open another. Let me take Omnisphere out. Let me remove Omnisphere. And let me put Contact. I have a specific library in mind. It's called Caspian. I don't know if you have it. It's one of my favorite brass libraries ever. Okay, 6 French horns. I've used these forever. All right, so Caspian. Amazing, like these. I don't know how many people are there. I think it's just one guy doing these. It's just, oh, this is good. Okay, so. Right, let me crank it up a little bit. Have you heard it? Do you hear it? Do you hear it? It's fake. There's no actual people playing these. You know, and I guarantee you, if you have them in front of you and you're somewhere in the audience and these 6 horns blast the line I've butchered and played for real, you're gonna get destroyed in a good way. So music, people, is just amazing. And acoustic music in the right spots is just, ooh, off the charts. But have you heard it? This is fake. And okay, but this was on. We should try it off. Let's go here. That's exactly what I hoped to find. Do you hear it? Without, the library sounds like quack, right? It sounds beautiful, but now we have the other result in our head. So that's exactly what I was thinking. Just the EQ is doing this. It's just de-nosing the sound. Without. Let's try that without. You hear it? And how many times, I mean, I know, I got students who say like, I still don't like my brass libraries. I still don't like my string libraries. Maybe I should use 2 libraries at the same time. Alberto, what kind of libraries do you have? Which brass library do you use? Which libraries do you melt together? Do you use synthesizers with brass? I don't really do a lot. I just, if you color it right, and this could be an alternative to what I usually do, which is other plugins and stuff. This is the tick. You can't really make a mistake with it. So we're boosting high the lows and we're cutting high the lows. But the bottom is absolutely fantastic. Come on. Come on. I could end the stream here. And I've picked, I'm kind of happy that I've picked the one sound that I kind of heard. All right, this is a perfect example. It's a beautiful library, but I don't want to hear it any longer without a VLC now. All right, let's try this without. Come on! I should almost save these settings. I'm gonna do it. Can I save it? Yes. Of course I can. So we're making the one and only folder with the weirdest last name ever. And Mixwave preset. No. We call this Brass D Nasalizer. If you're looking for the same result, Yasin says, what do you suggest as a plugin? So you mean if I wanted to use something else that is not Hazelrigg VLC? Did I understand it correctly? Like, which other plugin can do this? Is it? Is it? Did I get it? I hope I got it. I think that's where you're aiming at. Okay, yes. So in hardware world, the Massive Passive by Manley does this stuff. You got tons more controls, and you can do a lot more, but you know, it's a huge, completely different thing. But the Massive Passive would do it. So the Massive Passive plugins would do it. Let me think. I'm looking at stuff. The Pass EQ I have here can do that as well. It will not give you the harmonic drive though. It will just let the sound work. So for a sample library, the Massive Passive would be probably better, just because it's a tube thing, right? That's the thing. In plugin form, the anything that is the old Fairchild equalizers will do that a lot. And your homework is to go find which plugin developers have made that. All right, that's a cool. I think I'm allowed to do that. I will randomly assign homework to people in the stream. So this way nobody types any longer. Nobody, people hiding in the back of the class, right? As we used to do in high school, people hiding from other people trying to align themselves so that the teacher doesn't see them. So I will give you original devices that in my opinion can do these things on brass, okay? Massive Passive can do it. So what you need is you need something that densifies the brass because it's just gonna give it more heft. That's tubes. I would probably not go transformers or diodes, whatever, op amps, tubes. Tubes are awesome for this stuff. Orchestral loves tubes for sure. You don't need to make brass faster, so you're not worried about tubes lowering you down, slowing you down. It's actually, even sample libraries are too, already, they're kind of fast already. And the problem with sample libraries is that they're sometimes too good. So tubes, in a way, kind of, excite the sound a little bit. Even if they're fake, you can do that. So Massive Passive, for sure. Old Fairchild equalizers. Millennia EQs. Absolutely. The Millennia can do a lot. The Millennia is a tough fighter against all of these, because Millennias have been used, the NSEQ too. When I was in Italy, in Rome, and they would do orchestral stuff, they had Millennia there. They had, I think, 4, probably for the Decca, 2, and 2 for the FAR. I'm thinking, but they had 4, NSEQ 2. And they are one of the few cases that I've seen those NSEQ being used with tube settings, because a lot of the people I know, they happen to love the solid state version. So you have a switch in the Millennia. So that's another one. The Fern EQ can do that, which is what I'm kind of seeing also with the knob design and everything. Maybe Hazelrigg went for Fern. I don't know how much I can say that. I mean, I'm not endorsed or endorsing officially anything, So to me, it sounds very much like a Fern EQ. So a Fern EQ will do it. I don't remember the name, VT1, 2, I don't remember. But that one does it as well. So what am I, like 4 of them? Okay, Pultex can do that to some extent. But I think you will never get the balls out of the Pultex with brass and strings. I know some people love them, so it's all subjective, of course. But these ones good. Without. it's not as interesting without. It's just, tubes do that, you know? When I had Pultex in Berlin in the studio, and I say that all the time. I don't know if he's watching here, but I had a good assistant, an intern, and we would laugh about the fact that when you went bypass on the Pultec EQs, it just sounded bad, but it was the original. So we thought the original was good, but it became bad. It would become bad the moment you had Pultex on. It sounded so natural. And when you had them bypassed, it was like, wait, what is wrong? This is the closest known Pultec event that I can tell you. Like when it's off, this library here kind of loses. I mean, I'm not even using the gain here. Let's try the microphone. Let's turn it on first. Okay, so this is a little bit too much now. Granted, okay, we're going into, are we going somewhere? Maybe. We're going into my timeline pedal, and we're going into my avalanche pedal, and we're coming back from my dangerous 2-bus into the mix that you're hearing, okay? So there's effects, there's stuff and things, but once we level these sound this way, it just sounds so good, you know? Let's take another favorite of mine, Symphobia. Symphobia 1. Short notes, okay? This is a library a lot of you kind of hate. I've been getting mixed reviews by you. And I think you are wrong, sirs. This is a beautiful library. It's one of my favorites, and it delivers. It kicks major behind. Okay, so now we are in S, which is stage. We can get closer. Okay, so I want a little bit more volume. Whatever. I don't even know, it's 8:45, I don't even know what I'm playing any longer without. Whatever. Do you hear it? Like, you should have probably heard it instantly when it was. I mean, this is probably like unfair because it's a lot. But let's go line and let's try and go here without EQ. Let's start it. Is it on? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So it's not getting that anti-nasal thing from the gain here. It's still very wasteland, right? But here it is, right? It's louder, but it's getting that thing, right? And Yasin says, like, it's adding very a lot. Yes, it's adding very a lot, absolutely. It's a mass. But I'm making it on purpose, like where I have a lot of closed mic strings. Now let's reset these and let's try and get interest into it. Which knob position would sound to me as a more emotional kind of sound? Let's try that. Done. The high boost. Okay, low boost in low is even better. Let's try the high boost. Okay, now you can really hear it, right? Hear how nice that is. You hear how it's redesigning. That's really a Fern thing, however. It's where the Fern kind of took the kind of Pultec idea and kind of moved it, you know, a notch more. And Yasin says like, yes, because is there a limit for color? Sometimes I tell myself that we can always do better. Absolutely, but this is why tools like these are important. It's not about VLC. I'm trying it with you for the first time. I'm loving it. I like this thing. But it's not about selling plugins. It's not about buying more, you know, going broke on buying so many plugins. It's about choosing the right tools. Now, I'm talking over it a lot, playing mouse, whatever. But tools like these are important because you have kind of a nudge into a little bit of control, but not too much. So with a massive passive, you really need to know the unit to go boom, boom, done. This is enough because you will look at the massive passive and you will want to do so much. And that is where you ruin the thing. Now here, it's less prone to failure because there's not a lot to touch. But even by moving the high boost and high cut, there's a different type of silk in the strings. So they get very silky, or they get very sandy, or they get very present. Two knobs, and there's already 3 movie colors that you have all heard for sure, you know. So it's a little scary, says Yasin, or Yasin. I don't know if it's Yasin or Yasin. Tell me, or maybe not even one of the two. I'll say Yasin. Yasin, I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't say that. It's a little scary because is there a limit for color? Sometimes I tell myself, okay, I read the message twice, or you typed it kind of similar twice. There is a limit for color, but if it sounds good, this is not about mixing it in the song. This is about, like, is the orchestra speaking to me more? Absolutely, yes. Even if I compensate the volume, it's a completely different vibe. Now I want to try the low cut and put it very high. Here, that half-step cluster, it's confused without, let's try without anything else. It's a little bit confused without the cut, but with the cut engaged, you find the right spot where you can really hear the dissonance, but it's kind of sounding nice, atmospheric, right? Here, this spot. This is without. It's a lot more intentional right now, and there's just cuts. So without the EQ, and with the EQ, hear how like nudged that is. What about let's do short. Let's do longs, not shorts. Let's do long notes. Because strings on long notes will allow us to hear it. I want to try instrument. Let's try that. Sounds really good. And it's cut in the lows. Let's try without the cuts. So instrument sounds to me that the more you crank the gain, the more high mid it becomes. So this for guitars is amazing, for some synths could be amazing as well, but it's giving the orchestra kind of a vibe. So I love the sustained Sordino mod here in this library. Without. With. Ah, yes, you heard it? It's still doing that. So, whether it's good for you, whether it's the best, not the best, we don't care. There's no game changers. There's just you making music. But what matters is just know where to listen. And while I was playing, if you're playing an instrument and you're trying this stuff and it's allowing you to play in real time, which you can do with these because there's zero latency, get a vibe for how it feels while you're playing it. And I just heard that the orchestra kind of opened itself into the reverb and delay. And it wasn't happening without. So again, where would I use this? Orchestral stuff, right off, for sure. Can synthesizers sound better? Of course, but I now have these strings orchestral vibe in my head. I don't want to use synths. All right, so, we got 5 minutes, so it doesn't quite matter. Can it get distorted? What instruments are we lacking? Okay. I know. A library I've worked for that I love. Hans Zimmer Percussion, Los Angeles. I haven't worked on the London, but I've done some work on the Los Angeles. And I guarantee you, the team here at Spitfire and Hans Zimmer and the other people, these people mean business. They are not just there to wing it. This has been excruciating, but it's been a lot of fun and it sounds absolutely awesome. Jolie says, my takeaway is that the EQ section of the VLC is the biggest differentiator over CA-70S. Right, okay, yes. But we can say something more. Okay, if we were to remove the EQ section from Hazelrigg VLC, and we would just talk about line and microphone, or just line, with the gain knob, what difference is there at preamp level? That would be kind of a question that just, I can answer, but I need to kind of put things in focus. So the VLC has these very Fern-like I wouldn't say rock star status, but like godlike status. Like you're not somebody playing an instrument, you're on stage, and people are coming to your concert, So, hey Martin, hello, welcome. So VLC to me has these spotlight gain thing. So it opens up things to highlight the source. And it moves it up in volume, obviously gets it closer to you, but it just densifies it in a way that it makes it the star of the thing. The the 70S, the CA-70S has these more agnostic kind of approach. It's very open, respectful, maybe has a little bit more of a side content shenanigan in a positive way. Like it's taking, I liked what it was doing to the high mids and the grooves, and it doesn't feel faster than these one. It's not about that. It's about how hefty it is at a much more of a warm kind of sound. It's really kind of older in a good way, I would say. But then, of course, you add the EQ to the VLC, and then, you know, it's a different story. But let's do drums. Let's do drums. Let's do line. I told you, I'm proud that I've been part of this thing. It's just so good. Without. Okay, I'm trying to crank the volume as much as I can, but it just doesn't push. That's nice. That's a nice thing. Just like me, Martin, that's true. Older, but in a good way. So today, it's the second time I'm getting an old joke reference. I was washing my car here, cleaning it up after having washed it, and my wife kind of said something along your line, like, we were talking about something in chrome finish, and I was like, nah, that will look too old. And she was like, but you are old. And I said, but old and rich, which I'm not. So hold with money that comes every month, which I'm not. So that's, that's not the second time. All right, you're like working. Did you? So this sounds good. This sounds good. I've changed the subject by going back to plugins. This sounds good. This sounds really good. How about we just go low boost? I knew that. No EQ. Okay, now we engage the low cut in low position. We hope that it's kind of, it's a lot of lows, of course. Okay, it's cleaning it, but is it cleaning it? Is it on? Wow. Martin says, I'm also becoming an old fart, so I discriminate anyone and I do it indirectly to myself as well. That's good. That's good. You're allowed to do that. Don't worry about it. It's fine. So, very important. Do you hear it? Do you hear that we're not actually just cutting the lows? We're shifting the tone of the skins, right? So without the low cut, it sounds very clunky, like hazelnut in a good way. And with, it sounds like cinnamon. Can AI even come close to doing this kind of, this is appropriate, right? Does it make sense? So this is more hazelnut. You hear that clock? That's hazelnut to me. This is cinnamon. Right? Take that, AI. You will never be able to call a sound hazelnut and cinnamon. So I'm cutting the lows, but it's shifting away, right? With the low boost completely engaged. Now, without the low boost, the Pultec effect happens. What is the Pultec effect? That this Hazelrigg. How did I say that? Hazelrigg? Hazel? Ah, right. I didn't get the joke because I'm old. I don't get the jokes very easily any longer. It's hazelnut. No, it's Hazelrigg. That's true. This should be clipped and sent to the folks at Hazelrigg. So, we hear this sound, right? It's huge, it's too much, it's who cares? It's Jason Bonham, it's, you know, it's playing in Los Angeles, whatever, the stage was just insane, the Sony, and just, this is how it sounds. Right? Now, this is not the original sound. If I go low boost off, it sounded like this. All right? So, you spend a little bit of time with a good tube EQ, it will sound like that's the sound of something, you're just a natural sound. It will sound weird when, or different or unnatural, not when it's at plus 12, but it's when at off. And granted, this is like, the lows are asking me like, can we please not do that? So Martin says like, where does the VLC Hazelrigg shines on? When you have a love-hate relationship with Pultecs. Well, this is, it can do a little bit more it's what the Fern does as well. I don't want to keep saying Fern because it's Hazelrigg, but it has that Fern thing. It's just that modern tube aggression factor that is still respectful of the source. So when you'll watch the video again, you'll see I've used these on brass. I've used these on orchestral stuff like strings, fast strings, short strings, long strings, and I'm now using it on orchestral percussion. I would personally use, Jess asked that to me when we started about the CA-70S, I would personally use it more on orchestral stuff. Like these kind of things to me in the music I make, they kind of sound to me on the orchestral side. I've tried it on my beats stuff in isolation, and the CA-70S sounded insanely cool. So, you know, Yesin asks like, is it adding compression? Well, there's a little bit of a mix bus here that we're going into, but it's probably not even tickling. But there is something that obviously if I go to plus 12, you can hear it choke, right? Right? It chokes a little. But let's say I don't go to 12, like 12 was, but it's still musical. But if I keep it at 4, maybe 6, all right, we got it, the tom. Why did I map it this way? And that's the kick, okay? Without. All right, so not fair. Let's lower it. Wow, that's a lot of gain. I mean, you hear it, it's just not about volume. It's a mass of sound. It sounds natural with. All right, we haven't even touched the highs, so. I mean, come on, this is just like, you don't know it's there. You don't know there's an EQ. right? Can you do this with, it changes the sound a lot in a good way, right? And when you take it off, it sounds wrong when it's as it was. So the raw sound, which is plenty good, no longer sounds natural. It sounds better with EQ in a non-processed natural way. And it's, as Yasin says, like it's more about feeling. It just feels more, I mean, this is Jason Bonham. So the kick alone should level half of LA. It's just, and they recorded it awesomely. You hear how it's smacking as like a heavy boulder kind of thing. It goes on against the room in a sort of like a beating effect that's adding so much energy. And there's plenty of lows in the library that are waiting to be boosted. But if you do it with an SSL EQ, it sounds in one way. It can be awesome for a record, but it sounds like there's the engineer, you know, the band was in the studio, they made a record, blah, blah, blah. Tube EQs are just, you know, you don't know they're there. They're very natural, and for acoustic instruments, they're just usually better than solid state, because solid state will just take, and again, there's exceptions, of course, but it will kind of want to drive very stiffly, you know, like, and it's not as smooth. So this is not a tube EQ. I mean, the Hazelrigg Industries VLC hardware unit is a tube EQ. This is a plugin, okay? This is not tubes. But does it do the tube thing? I think it does, right? So yes, you can work with Pultecs, although you will never get this boltsy thing because they do something a little bit differently. So I wouldn't probably use Pultecs on these stuff as much as maybe, as I said, a massive passive would do it. Millennia EQs would do it. They might be a little bit rounder, the Millennials, and not as pushy as this. So this is a little bit more glorious. But for some classical music, you know, sometimes you get the Fern and it's just like it wants to be heard, you know, it wants to be listened to. So the tube techs as well, they could do that. Still, it will be a little bit Pultec-y on orchestral stuff. And I don't know, I would probably use it more on bass, like band stuff. But for sure, I mean, there's people using it on orchestral stuff, I'm sure. So I should give the tube. Is it effective on percussion or more on sustains? This is probably Yasin asking Martin whether the tube tech are good all right, and Martin's nobody's allowed to buy plugins for a month. That's the challenge we put on the Patreon. So awesome. It sounded awesome, and this is good. I'm glad I haven't demoed these until now. So how about microphone? This is now crackling the heck out of it. I like that. Now let's do a lot of low. Let's do high, and then we do dry wet. This sounds good, but now we're into sound design. So I don't want to say it's bad or sound design isn't good. I'm just saying that once you get into sound design, you can do a lot of stuff with a lot of tools and blend them and do it. So I'm kind of finding more value in how we nudged the orchestral stuff to be, you know, open. So will it work on synthesizers? For sure. Would I use it on synthesizers? If I had one unit, a stereo unit, no. I would not miss the chance to have it on orchestral stuff or on percussion, whether it's electronic or not. So yeah. And the EQ is from Fern. And I mean, you know, I don't have any Fern units in the studio here. I've never owned Fern units, but I've worked in a studio that had them, and they're awesome. And probably, I mean, again, nothing against Pultecs, but you will get more leeway out of a Fern EQ, maybe with modern stuff, than the legendary Pultec EQ. But ultimately, you want both, obviously. So, which EQ do you like on synthesizers, especially when they're quite dull? Let's go look what I've done here on the synth bus. I haven't actually used any EQ. So what do I have? Let's take a look at that. I usually edit the sounds on the synths, just moving around, just to get ideas. I like to, for example, I was looking, am I missing stuff? Serum. I'm clipping, you see, I'm clipping Serum, clean stuff. Super clean stuff, for example. But I like to kind of tame the EQ, the synths on the source. So probably I tweak them more than I would on other stuff. So clipping a lot just to keep them there from just I think I have the DW, what have I done here? Fury. So I kind of process them maybe more than EQing. Clean EQ, MH, sonic filter, sonic EQ. You hear? I'm just showing you, for example, in this song, what I have. It's just retouches. Fab Filter Pro Q, Infinity EQ by Slate, absolutely. Things are fast. Kirchhoff EQ, perfect. I don't kind of go to synthesizers and take, for example, an API, but that's just me. Do you always HPF the synths? Did I HPF the synths? No. I usually never HPF the synths, but I do a high pass on the bus of the synths. Yes. No, you can go off topic because you know, we're 9:15. So, you know, we're closing. So you always, of course, I mean, you can do it, you know. You can just do that as well. I don't know. I go for, dinner time. My Voyager, which has plenty of lows, is going into my Neve 1073's preamps and then into the computer. So, you know, it's not reducing lows, it's actually kind of maybe beefing them up. The Prophet 6 goes to the 512s, the APIs. They're maybe a little bit mid-rangey, but, you know, I kind of, the synthesizers I have and use, maybe I'm trying to analyze myself. All of the synthesizers I have around here have some form of high pass filter as well. The Voyager does, the Prophet 6 does, the Prophet 12 does, the Poly 6 doesn't, but the Nordlead does. The Juno doesn't in terms of, I don't know. I mean, you can cheat it, but no, I don't do it that way. So it's probably because I designed the patch with the high pass as well in the synths. So I do high pass the synths as well, a lot, like you do. But maybe you design it and you like the synth and then you use a plugin. That's fine. It's no problem. You know, Martin says, maybe I need to tweak the soft synths a bit more. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're fine getting the bulk of the sound and then filtering it afterwards, you know. Pro Q or whatever, Infinity, the Metric Halo, EQ, the Sonic EQ, you know, they're very fast. So you just, you know, sculpt it, keep the vibe of it. I don't usually over mojo the synths too much, but Kirchhoff EQ, you know, you can keep a template there with 2 filters and just go, you know. Sometimes you go here to the basses or other stuff, and I saw it. Oh, here, see? Well, this is kicks. I do these on a lot of my kicks, which are like already dark, and I still get them to be darker for whatever reasons. Look at that. Or this is Octatrack stuff, you know, all the filters I have here. Drums have nothing, grooves have nothing. clipping, orange clip, crispy clip, orange clip, crispy clip, but they're not doing that much. And Yasin says, I just want to say thank you for these live. You're most welcome. That's why I do this. It was very enriching. Perfect. That's why I'm streaming this stuff. Do you often do lives? Theoretically, I do streams on Wednesdays and Fridays, but I'm trying to keep at least a Wednesday for streams. If I release a video or I'm working on content that is going, whether it's a masterclass or whether it's like a promo video for plugins or whatever like that goes officially out, and I don't have time, maybe I skip a stream. But usually Wednesdays and Fridays, and I try to announce them beforehand. So, people, this concludes our, let me see where we are here. I want to put the two of them together here. This concludes our live stream. Can you believe it? We've done it. We've talked about CA-70S by Mixwave, and it's in collaboration with Coil Audio. It's an old tube, old school but modern tube preamp, and the Hazelrigg Industries VLC, which is again an old tube preamp with EQ functions by Hazelrigg Industries, still by Mixwave. So they're both by Mixwave. If you're a patron of mine, you're getting academic discounts for these plugins. I get absolutely zero money from it. I don't care if you buy them. I don't care if you don't buy them. I tried them. There's no denying I like them. So do they do what they would want to do? Yes. So that's okay. I tried these blind. I usually don't do that, but I opened the session with you and tried them. Honestly, this is a risky thing because if I don't like it, I would rather not do a stream on it because I just probably don't get motivating enough for you to get ideas. It's much better if I like something, because if I like something, and even if you don't like it, I can kind of show you why I like it, and it will kind of stick in you and give you a push for your own music, which is, again, ultimately why I do this stuff. So it was great. This video will be available for you in the future and stuff, as usual. What can I say about that? Thank you very much. Martin for being here late, but you'll watch the video. Yasin for being here. You're awesome. We talked about a lot of stuff. Thank you very much for the good words. Joey goes without saying that, you're pretty much always here, but you also said, check these out, check these out, check these out, check these out. And Marco always watching. I don't know, he watched before, afterwards. We have to talk a lot about mastering with Marco. That's a different thing between me and him, and it's a private conversation that will go on end of the month as well. So thank you again. If you like this stuff, want to do more, check more, know more, learn more, find out more, join my Patreon or just check it out. There's tons of videos, there's tons of stuff. We talk on Discord a lot and we stay pretty productive because we chat a lot, but we chat about serious stuff. So check it out. Your support is greatly appreciated. This is because I'm doing these live because of people like Martin, like Jolie, like Marco, and I don't want to just forget anybody else. Sometimes Gary's here, sometimes James is here. The Patreons allow me to do these live streams for you. So just think about that. If you want to join the team of people supporting, take a look. It's not too expensive. That's how we build a community there. Enough advertisement. We go to dinner, have fun, check these things out. Demo first. Use all the days of demos. Don't rush to buy stuff. And again, what matters is your music, all right? So remember that. It's how you hear it and how you put it into music. We'll keep pushing to fight the problems when you can't finish a song, when you don't know if it's good, when you don't know how to develop an idea. I am here and my patron is here to fight against those demons. Trust me, it's doable, okay? So that's what I like to do the most. We'll be there. Thank you very much again, and ciao. You knew that was gonna be the end, right? Bye-bye, people. Thank you very much again. See you next time.